It's Vijaya on Mirchi's Immigration Hour, brought to you by the NPZ Law Group, business and family immigration law firm representing clients from throughout the US and around the world. And with me is Snehal Batra. She's managing attorney at NPZ's Raritan office. Namaste, Snehal. Welcome.
Namaste, Vijaya. Kamcho. To our listeners too. And because we have, of course, Independence Day, I'd like to wish all the Radio Mirchi listeners happy Independence Day for India. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind. Thank you for that, Snehal. So tell me, is it possible to self-sponsor an H-1B through one's own startup?
Yes, Vijaya, it is possible for you to sponsor your own H-1B visa as a entrepreneur or a business owner. Recent changes in January 2025 under the H-1B modernization rules specifically allow for individuals who are majority owners of businesses. Even if you have 100% ownership, you're able to file your own H-1B petition. Now, we covered in a previous show the modernization rules, but specifically, I'm going to go over these requirements for your self-sponsorship. One thing to note is that if approved, you only get an 18-month approval, unlike a 3-year approval. You also have an opportunity to file for an 18-month extension, and then you're able to get a 3-year extension of the
So
H-1B.
approval meaning it has to come through within the 18 months?
No, if immigration approves this self-sponsored H-1B, the approval will be valid for 18 months.
Okay.
Okay. But of course, there are some specific requirements, and you can expect that immigration is going to, have additional scrutiny for these cases. But I'll go over briefly the key requirements for this. And the first one is there has to be a legal entity, a separate entity from you as the individual, because the new rules actually expand the definition of an employer, because an employer is the one sponsoring an H-1B, right? So the new rules say that an employer includes individuals who are 50% or more owners of the entity. So that's very important. Keep in mind, though, as a sole proprietor, you're not considered a legal entity, so you can't file it on your own. So you actually have to form the company. You have to have a formal structure with a board of directors or a CEO, somebody who has the authority to hire and fire employees, pay wages. So you'll have to provide documentation of the company formation, operating agreement, tax ID. And even though you have your own company, you still have to demonstrate that there is a legitimate employer-employee relationship, because the company has to have the ability to control your employment. So this is achieved usually by having like a board of directors. So you get an employment contract that says the company is employing you, outlines your salary, your duties, and the control mechanisms. Okay? The other key requirement is that the position has to be a specialty occupation, because, of course, after all, it's an H-1B visa. So under the new rules, the majority of your time, so 51% of your time, has to be spent performing H-1B professional job duties. And then the rest of your time can be spent on tasks related to running your business, right? Like signing a lease, maybe finding investors. And this makes sense because, we know as business owners, we wear many hats, and immigration has recognized this. So that's really good. Another key requirement is the prevailing wage requirement. So even though you may own the business, the company, the legal entity, still has to pay you a salary that either meets or exceeds the prevailing wage for the H-1B. So, you don't get a free pass just because you're the owner. And then when you're filing the self-petition, you're also going to need a business plan. You have to show immigration that your company has some kind of, a purpose. Like, you didn't just form the business to file your own H-1B. So you need to explain your role in this business, its financial viability. Can the company pay you the wage? You should also include some projections, information on funding, the growth potential, So if you have an H-1B visa now, like you're in H-1B status and you're considering switching to your own company, you're going to have to take these steps. I recommend that you file a concurrent part-time H-1B. So you keep your H-1B that you're working, let's say, with company X, and then you have formed a company on the side, you would file a concurrent H-1B part-time. This way you can transition into maybe a full-time role with your business as your business grows. But most importantly, if immigration doesn't approve this transfer to your own company, you haven't lost anything because you can still continue on your existing H-1B status. So if you plan to do this, just be careful because H-1B is employer specific. You can only work for the company that sponsored you. And if you're thinking that maybe you do want to open up a company, you have some ideas, not a problem, because while you're on H-1B, you can take steps to set up the company. So you can form the business, get a tax ID number, maybe even seek investment. But you can't work for that company. You can't get a salary yet. You can't perform technical work like, coding or something like that. So in order to do that, that's why you would need that self-sponsored H-1B. And even if you're not in H-1B status, you can still apply for this. For example, we have many students maybe that are entrepreneurs. They can also qualify, but of course, they'll have to enter the H-1B lottery.
Yes.
So anyone out there that's interested in exploring this, please reach out to us. We've been successful under this new modernization rule to secure self-sponsored H-1Bs. It just requires careful planning and a lot of documentation. But, we are here at NPZ to assist you.
Absolutely. And thank you for laying that out so well for us. And there are the possibility is there to self-sponsor the H-1B. So you can do that. And thank you for that, Snehal. So folks, if you're feeling stuck and stationary in the US and Canadian immigration law maze, not to worry, because the NPZ Law Group is at hand to help you navigate your way through. Get the help you need today. Visit visaserve.com or call them at 201-670-0006. More very relevant and key pointers on immigration law with the NPZ Law Group attorneys coming up in just a bit. Stay with us on Mirchi. It's hot.